Story 1. It was late July, and the heat was the kind that sticks to your skin no matter how many windows you crack open. I live alone on the third floor of an old brick building in a quieter part of town. That night, like every summer night, the air was thick and still. I had the fan going, trying to push some relief through the apartment. I remember the time, just after 3 a.m. I wasn't really asleep. The kind of half-doze where your mind drifts but your body's still on alert because of the heat. Then I heard it. A faint metallic sound. Soft but clear, like a key turning in a lock. My eyes opened fast. I held my breath and listened. The fan kept humming. Outside, a distant siren somewhere in the city. But there it was again, a tiny click. I live alone. No one else has a key to my apartment. I stayed frozen on the couch, my eyes locked on the front door. It was across the room, maybe 15 feet away. The hallway light from outside bled under the crack, casting a thin, pale strip on the floor. The doorknob moved. Slow. Not like someone familiar turning it. No, this was cautious. Careful. The door creaked just enough to crack open. A sliver of black beyond. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. My heart felt like it would explode, but I kept still. I stared at that crack, waiting for a face, a hand, anything. But nothing came. Just the quiet. A minute passed. Maybe 2. I told myself it could be the building settling. The heat warping the old frame. A trick of the night. But then the door moved again. Opened a little more. A draft of warm night air crept in. I could smell the hallway, that old, dusty scent of the building. I stayed like that, frozen, until something in me snapped. I bolted up, slammed the door shut, threw the lock, the chain, the bolt. My hand shook so bad I could barely work the metal. I stood there, pressed to the door, listening. But the hallway outside was dead silent. And when I finally dared to look through the peephole, no one. Just the empty hall, the flicker of a light further down. And I still have no idea who tried my door that night. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat in the chair by the door, lights off, just listening. Every creak of the building, every gust of air from the fan made me flinch. I kept thinking I'd hear that key again, that soft click in the lock. But it stayed quiet. When the first gray light of dawn broke through the blinds, I finally got up. I checked the door again, the locks, the chain. Everything was still engaged, just like I'd left it. Still, I opened it slow, heart racing, and looked out into the hall. Empty. The air smelled stale, like it always does in that building. I checked the floor. No marks, no scuffs, nothing to say anyone had been there. I went downstairs and checked the main door to the building. Locked. Always locked at night, and no sign that anyone had forced it. That whole morning I felt on edge. Like something was just out of place, but I couldn't say what. That night, I wasn't sure what to do. I thought about staying with a friend, but I felt stupid. Like maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe the lock shifted because of the heat. So I stayed. I double-checked every lock. Even pushed a chair under the knob. Around 1 a.m., I managed to drift off on the couch again. And that's when I heard it. A soft knock. Not loud. Just a slow, deliberate knock at my door. 3 taps. Then nothing. I didn't move. Just sat there, heart racing, watching the door. Minutes passed. Then another knock. Same rhythm. Same light, careful sound. I didn't look through the peephole this time. I didn't want to see whatever was on the other side. I stayed like that till the sun came up. When I opened the door in the morning, hoping to see some explanation, a note, a package, there was nothing. I didn't tell anyone. What was I supposed to say? That someone knocked softly on my door in the middle of the night? That maybe someone tried to come in the night before? It sounded crazy even to me. But that day I couldn't focus on anything. Every sound in the building made me jump. Every door closing down the hall set my heart pounding. That night, I was sure of one thing. I wasn't going to sleep. I triple-checked the locks, pulled the chain tight, propped the chair under the knob again, and I sat in the dark, phone in my hand, ready to call someone if it happened again. Hours passed. The building settled. The fan buzzed. Then, sometime after 2 a.m., I heard it. A key. Soft. Deliberate. Sliding into the lock. I didn't move. Just listened. The key turned. Or tried to. Stopped by the deadbolt. Then, the knob moved. Pressed against the lock, against the chain, against the chair. Light. Testing. I held my breath, heart pounding so hard I thought whoever it was could hear it. The door gave a little under the pressure, but the locks held. Then nothing. No more sound. No retreating footsteps. I stayed there until sunrise, staring at the door. When I finally opened it that morning, there was no one. No note. No scratch marks. And the building's front door? Still locked. But I moved out a week later, because I couldn't shake the feeling. Whoever had the key wasn't done trying. Story 2. I live alone in a small house at the edge of town. The backyard backs right up to a stretch of woods. There's a fence, old and a little crooked, that runs the property line. It was late, maybe just after midnight. I'd gotten up to get a glass of water. When I walked into the kitchen, I saw him. A man. Standing at the fence. He wasn't moving. Just standing there, facing the house. The moon was bright enough that I could see his outline clear. He wasn't close enough for me to see his face. Just the shape of him, still, straight arms at his sides. At first I thought maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe someone drunk, lost, whatever. But he didn't move. Didn't shift his weight. Didn't look around. I turned off the kitchen light and stood by the window in the dark, watching. He stood there. Minutes passed. Nothing. I waited, figuring he'd leave, but he didn't. I don't know how long I stood there. I kept checking the clock on the oven. 10 minutes. 20. Half an hour. He didn't move. No sway, no scratch, no stretch. Just stood there. I thought about calling someone, but I didn't know what I'd even say. Eventually, I grabbed my phone and went to turn on the back porch light. My hand was on the switch when I froze, because the man raised his arm and waved. Slow, like he knew I was watching the whole time. I backed away from the window. The light stayed off. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in the living room, listening for the sound of the gate, a footstep, anything. But there was nothing. Just the stillness. I didn't go back to the window. I sat in the dark, every light off, trying to hear if he moved. But it was dead silent. No footsteps. No gate creak. Not even the sound of the woods. No crickets, no whine through the trees. Just that heavy, waiting silence. After what felt like hours, the first hint of morning light started to creep into the sky. I finally got up, heart still hammering, and went to the window. The yard looked empty. No figure at the fence. No sign that anyone had been there. But when I stepped out onto the porch, I saw the footprints. Clear as anything in the dirt by the fence. They led up to the spot where he'd been standing. But no prints walked away. Just deep impressions where he'd stood. Like he'd been there a long, long time. I followed the line of the fence with my eyes, but saw nothing out of place. No broken boards. No sign of someone climbing over or through. I went inside, locked the door, and didn't go out again that day. That night, I kept every light on in the house. I didn't want to see out, didn't want to risk catching another glimpse. But as I lay in bed, trying to stay awake, I heard it. The faint sound of wood creaking. Not the house. The fence. like weight shifting against the boards. And then the knock. Soft. Not on the door. Not on the window. But from the back of the house. Somewhere near the porch. Like he wanted me to know he was still there. I lay there frozen, listening. The knock didn't come again. Just that one slow tap, like a reminder. I stayed in bed until the sun came up, too afraid to look outside. When it was finally light enough, I forced myself up. I checked every window. The yard was empty. No one by the fence, no one near the porch. But when I stepped outside, I saw them. More footprints. Clear tracks in the dirt, leading right up to the edge of the porch. Same as before, no tracks leading away. It was like he'd appeared there and just disappeared again. I spent the rest of the morning checking the fence line, walking the property. No damage. No gaps where someone could have come through. I even called a buddy of mine to help me look around. We found nothing. No signs in the woods, no broken branches, no other prints. I didn't see him again after that night. But I started keeping the back light on every night. And I got a new lock for the back gate, even if I wasn't sure it would matter. Because I never figured out how he got in. Or why he watched for so long. Story 3. It was late, maybe close to midnight. A storm had been building all evening, and by then it was pouring. Heavy rain beat against the windows, and thunder rolled low and steady in the distance. I was on the couch, half watching TV, when it happened. The doorbell rang. Not a long ring. Just one quick press. I froze. Nobody was supposed to be coming over. I muted the TV and listened. Nothing but the storm outside. I walked slowly to the door, my bare feet cold on the wood floor. I looked through the peephole. No one. The porch was empty, the rain coming down in sheets. I stood there a moment, heart thudding, trying to convince myself it was the storm. Maybe a short in the wiring, maybe the wind. Then it rang again. One short, sharp ring. And again. I felt the hair on my neck stand up. I didn't open the door. I didn't even look through the peephole again. I backed away, grabbed my phone. No signal. The storm must have knocked something out. The ringing stopped. For a long minute, I stood there in the dark of the living room, listening. Just the rain. Just the wind. Then, from the side of the house, a soft knock at the window. The knock was soft, like the sound of a single knuckle tapping glass. I froze in place, every part of me screaming not to move, not to look. But I couldn't help it. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. Lightning flashed, lighting up the room for just a second. There was no one there. Or if there was, I didn't see them. I stayed where I was, breathing shallow, listening. The storm kept up, louder than before. But beneath the rain, I thought I heard it. Another knock. This time, at the back door. I didn't go to it. I couldn't. I just stood in the middle of the house, waiting for the next sound, the next knock. But it never came. I stayed awake until morning, lights on, phone in hand, watching every door and window. When the rain finally stopped and the sky lightened, I stepped outside. There on the porch, in the soft mud, were clear footprints. Bare feet. They led up to the front door. But no footprints led away. I don't know who came to my house that night. And I don't know if they ever really left. The end.